Have you ever heard of Pac-Man?
Pac-Man! He's still around. It finally feels like we've graduated beyond it being impressive that this little yellow circle from the 80s has maintained relevancy, and now it's just a fact of life. Pac-Man ain't going anywhere. He doesn't have anything better to do. Look at him. He's Mr. Video Game. He's the first name that comes to mind when a lot of people think of video games. Someone argued that title belongs to Mario, and fair is fair, he's incredibly popular, but I don't think his entire career holds a candle to how Pac-Man was able to cement himself as a video game icon from just one game. Just one game. One incredibly tight game that captivated kids and adults alike. One timeless game that has crossed the generational gap flawlessly, due in no small part to Namco re-releasing it every time somebody sneezes. The fully encompassed experience of Pac-Man is a marvel. The marriage of the beautifully crafted game to the lovable mascot character is something hundreds of game developers have desperately tried to replicate purely because Pac-Man was able to strike that balance so perfectly. And I would credit Namco with this achievement, but they let Pac-Man 2 happen, so they need to be punished. Yeah, Pac-Man really doesn't need to do anything other than be re-released every few seconds, but that doesn't stop the rights holders from getting antsy. Why can't Pac-Man have a gaming catalog that mimics Mario? He can, you just gotta fucking commit. They barely let Pac-Man get settled into a new gameplay format before throwing everything away and starting from scratch. Now, Pac-Man does rely on novelty, as is the case with arcade titles, so I get wanting to keep him fresh, but you don't throw out a gallon of milk after one glass, my friends. I think the best swing they had at reinventing Pac-Man was the Pac-Man World Series. Ooh, hot take. It just felt right. Totally has nothing to do with my blind favor towards 3D platformers, it must be something else. I mean, hey, the first one just got a swanky new remake, so that makes me right. It would have been really easy to keep on the Pac-Man World track, and I think that would have made a fair bit of people pretty happy with the state of Pac-Man. But somebody really wanted to give Pac-Man eyes. And so we got Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. Pac-Man was finally given the gift of sight and begged us to take it back. I still can't comment on the games. I'll play them once my pulse comes back. It'll be any day now. Oh. And 2 years ago, I finally gave the show a watch. It was horrible, I loved it. Not a great reinvention of Pac-Man, but for what it was what it was. I think it's much easier to look back on now that we know that this isn't the new Pac-Man, it's just a version of Pac-Man. And I think even back then we all somewhat knew this was never permanent, but that certainly didn't stop people from throwing a fit. How dare they tamper with the sacred formula of Pac-Man? Okay, buddy, where was this outrage for Pac in time? I touched on the hate this whole segment of Pac-Man's history got when it first came out, but strangely enough, there was a resurgence in hate for the show on Twitter earlier this year. Slow news day? I have no idea where this came from. Maybe some people just missed Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures when it first came out, so when it was making the rounds again, they felt the need to chime in and say it was trash. But like, come on. The series is 9 years old, you're not gonna change anything. But having more people come out and trash the series did make me start to think about my feelings towards it. I wonder if they've changed at all. Hey, it's Roland again, and I'm a liar. I broke my promise. Don't remember what I'm talking about? Let me jog your memory.
So, there you have it. Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures is a bad show with a lot of problems. I cannot in good conscience recommend you go watch it. But I'm gonna keep watching it. I didn't. I was a little burnt out after being introduced, so I waited a bit, and then the few episodes following the ones I covered were not very good. Specifically, it lost me on the episode where Pac-Man gets a bunch of zits, and then gets really big, and then starts farting, and doesn't stop farting for like 5 minutes. Call me crazy, it didn't resonate with me. I was really surprised by how quickly I fell off this show. I have had no desire to go back. Now don't worry, this is not me jumping on the hate train, this is me entering the station. But anytime a group of people tell me I should hate something, my instinct is to go, eh. So I'm willing to give Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures a second try, a third try, a fourth try, a 10th try, 13. I'm capping out at 86. 87. Purely out of moral obligation, I have very quickly gotten pretty well caught up on Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. I can't say it was time well spent, so I won't. I will say, though, to get through it, I did start to watch it at 1.5 speed, and that tremendously helped the pacing. That's a bad thing, actually. I won't bore you with the details, so here's a quick recap of all the new developments that happened in the series. Professor Nose is a character. That's it. There are, of course, more details that came up, but I was surprised. For the most part, nothing new or exciting happens to change the status quo. I thought it set itself up as a show that wanted to do that, but it's just content to throw whatever it feels like at you and reset the context for the next episode. Nothing wrong with that, it's just not what I personally wanted out of it. You might say I'm oversimplifying, but really, anything else that would be of note is only important for you to know if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of the lore of this show. And do I look like someone who concerns himself with the lore of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures? I do, actually. But I don't want to just add fuel to the Pac-Man GA
gay hate fire, so I want to go through one more little nugget of the show and see if I can find the beauty in it. Give Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures one more shot and see if it can turn the series into a positive experience for me, because as of right now, it is overwhelmingly neutral. The only question is what to choose. You can't really jump into a random part of the series, and the show doesn't have a dedicated ending, so what chunk would give it the best fighting chance of turning me around? Well, fortunately, the show has two specials according to Netflix: Santa Pac's Merry Berry Day, and Pac's Scary Halloween. I guess you win, buddy. I'm sure there's gotta be something special about it since there were not one, but two Halloween specials before this one. Let's all engage in the time-honored Halloween tradition and watch something bad. Here comes Pac's Scary Halloween. Ha! I caught it. So, we start with Betrayus bitching about Pac-Man for a bit. He either wants to kill him or kiss him. I think it's secretly both. They say words for a bit and then cut to the theme song.
The Pac is back. Ghost chomping at his feet. What can stop them? Pac-Man feet. Yeah. The Pac is back.
Guys, you forgot to animate the logo.
An hour with Pac-Man, Spiral, and Silly on their way to a Halloween party in the president's limo. They don't know who invited them or where they're going. That's not a red flag. It's great to see the gang all together. It's just a bummer that they're still dull as dirt.
It's good to be us. Well, we're not getting attacked by aliens and monsters or slimed by ghosts.
No!
Whoa, what's going on?
No! The cobwebs are much too high.
Ah, President Spheros. I've got a bone to pick with you. For the entire series, President Spheros is horrible. He surrounds the city at the first sign of danger, he deflects every problem towards Pac-Man, and they straight up have an episode where there's an election where Spheros faces an opponent who is better for the job, but then through a series of antics, he just keeps being president. Okay. It feels like they wanted to say something anti-establishment here, but then they remember they work for Disney. Either way, don't expect him to be a highlight. Here he's setting up his own party that Pac and friends are going to attend after the first one, gratuity in motion.
Is the big federal agent scared?
Hey, you, man. Back to the main three, and they talk about how they're totally numb to scary things. And that brings up a fair point. What does Halloween even mean in a world where ghosts and monsters just exist? Like, we've already had vampires and werewolves show up in previous Halloween specials. What's the appeal of having a day dedicated to scary things?
You have arrived in Transylpania. Do not leave the safety of this vehicle for any reason. These roads can be dangerous.
What the f*** is happening? They arrive at the haunted castle where there's an angry mob. How did you get here? The road was a spine.
These haunted castle guys go all out to set the stage.
Oh no.
Whoa! Amazing! Great trick!
Oh no.
Guess they can do just about anything with special effects these days.
So, the shtick they're setting up is that the main three think they're going to a fake haunted house. For example, they think their chauffeur is wearing makeup. That's dumb! They fight ghosts and monsters on a daily basis. Why wouldn't they be even the slightest bit suspicious of this setup? And I get it, they wouldn't go blindly into danger, but you're making them idiots just to make your plot work. You didn't think that was a problem?
Enter freely and of your own will.
As long as the food flows freely, I'm willing.
Don't just throw in a well-written line like that, it undercuts my point. So they enter the castle of Dr. Packenstein. I wonder what could go wrong.
It's almost as if this place is for real.
Oh no, this place is for real. So here comes Dr. Packenstein. He's a brain in a jar, as is customary in these parts.
I have, through the course of my many experiments, sacrificed my body parts until being reduced to my current pickled, preserved brain state.
Alright, neat, I can get behind it. Why aren't Pac, Spiral, and Silly reacting to it in any way? Are they just cool with him being a brain, or have they just not noticed?
But I'm guessing you're the brains of the outfit? A good one.
So we have a talking brain and disembodied limbs. Things should really be spicing up.
Look out! Worst servants ever.
Hilarious.
Avoid any hidden passages.
Hey, buddy, the front's good. You just move. Two inches to your right or left.
Not funny.
But they're nothing compared to my grouchy neighbor, Count Pacula.
You're driving me batty!
If you're feeling like this story isn't making any sense so far, rest assured, it isn't. We're not very far in, but so much stuff has happened, and most of it was useless. I think the main problem is the fact that we're focusing on the least developed members of the main cast. I miss Skibo. Well, at least we're past introductions. Now we can get things going.
Put down the egg beater!
I don't know.
So the trio walk down a hallway, Pac-Man goes into a wall, but then he's back, and he's a robot, but then Spyro and Silly don't have eyes, but then they're dead, but then Pac-Man was never a robot.
I'm not gonna repeat myself.
We finally get a break in which we cut back to Betrayus, but all he does is take a shit on Inky.
I'm not gonna repeat myself.
And now we're having a feast.
I'm getting f***ing whiplash.
We keep bouncing between random nonsense and bad jokes. I keep thinking I understand what's going on, and then we just stop and throw Pac-Man around the kitchen for 3 minutes or something. I don't get it. Just give me one bit of logic to latch onto. Quick, Pac-Man, say something coherent.
This batch definitely has got me beat!
Oh no! I think this special articulates a huge problem with the series as a whole. There is usually plot, but it always feels like an afterthought. Like they have things that are supposed to happen in an episode, but they're more than willing to grind it all to a halt for the sake of a joke. The jokes always come out of nowhere, and they're not clever enough or absurd enough to be funny, so the whole show is just tone deaf. And the pacing, good lord, it's molasses going down a mild incline. Everything they could say in 1 word, they say in 20. It seems like they're really wanting to relish in something, but nothing is happening. And it's weird because throughout the series, there are recurring things that could be developed upon. They keep hinting that Inky, Pinky, Blinky, and Clyde might get exposed as spies. There's an overarching plot where Pac-Man wants to find out more about his parents, and there's these aliens that sometimes show up, so it feels like they want to build the plot, but anytime there's any progress, they just go back on it by the end of the episode or do absolutely nothing with it. And I get if they don't want to prioritize pushing forward a greater plot, but if you're gonna have recurring elements, they either gotta be funny or they gotta be of substance.
Alright, where were we?
Well, I am pretty.
Damn straight.
So now the kids fall asleep. Just throw Spiral and Cylindria in jail. Why not? Everyone else is doing it. But Pac-Man gets taken to a separate room where Dr. Packenstein has nefarious intentions. Pac wakes up strapped down on a table with a helmet on his head.
Say what?
Shut up.
I want you at your best when I put my brain into your body.
It's a gag, right?
There is no way in hell you wouldn't have caught on by now.
I really don't think that this is that funny.
He said it, not me.
You wanna put your brain in my body? You're a terrible host!
He has a point.
Yes! My berry dispenser. Once I power up, it'll be adios, Dr. Wacko.
Oh, I forgot Pac-Man has an infinity tongue. Stupid of me.
No berries for you, Pac-Man. That is, not until I am cozily confined in your cranium.
I don't even know you.
He has a point.
And suddenly, we're in a flashback showing Betrayus and Packenstein forming their plan. This probably should have been the start of the episode.
A toast to the end of Pac-Man's existence as he knows it.
Oh, wow. He said toast, and then he gave them literal toast. I'm gonna die soon.
Pac-Worlders have shunned me and even called me a quack.
They're trying.
Protect the president!
Worst bodyguards ever!
Never mind.
Oh no, Pac-Man gets his body stolen.
That tickles in a weird way.
Please do not elaborate. And now Packenstein has a body, which strangely gives us the first time where Pac-Man is animated really expressively. You're telling me we could have done this the whole time?
Well, this is jarring.
Boo.
Alright, part 1 is over. That was quick. Let's hope things start coming together from now on. The ghosts make their way to the castle to check how things are going. Packenstein keeps commenting on how Pac has the perfect body, and that's kind of creepy.
I gotta piss myself.
Good luck.
I'm really confused as to what this show considers its demographic to be. It markets itself like a high-action comedy show that I assume would appeal to older kids, late elementary to early middle school and all that, but the characters talk like they're in an episode of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And I don't think it's the performers' fault. They all sound pretty dang good. I just think they were directed strangely. My guess is that whatever executives were in charge of overseeing this project kept pushing for the show to appeal to the widest audience possible, so they kept forcing the creatives to water everything down, which ironically makes it appeal to no one. I wonder if Disney will learn from this experience.
I wonder.
So Packenstein goes out on the town, eats an old lady, and then is like, nah, never mind. Alright. Spiral and Silly turn into insects just cuz, and then I just don't know anymore.
Touchdown! I did it! I did it! I did it!
Just when our heroes are cornered, they're saved by none other than Count Pacula. Why? Moral obligation. Packenstein crashes the president's party, but it's okay, guys. Pac-Man's already here. Problem solved. What's up, tennis ball kid? I see you. So Pac and the gang show up and just all hell breaks loose. Everyone's running around and screaming. There's a woolly mammoth. I think I just popped a blood vessel.
I've got this. Everyone, please remain calm.
And now everyone's dancing. The president's a cow.
This is an utter disaster.
So Cersei comes in clutch with a brain transference device. But whoops, he accidentally puts Pac's brain in a Count Pacula. It's cool though.
Well, it's nice to be out of that jar and in a body again.
Weirdest Halloween ever.
I failed.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't find the beauty. It's awful, and it just doesn't stop being awful. It just hits you with random bullshit and expects you to be grateful. I don't understand why anything happened. This is the second to last episode in the series. I thought after 2 whole seasons it would settle into itself at least a little, but it just stagnated the whole time. It's honestly kind of impressive. I feel cheated. They kept teasing me throughout with little hints of character growth or changing status quo, only to drown it in jokes with no punchline. My optimism was crushed under the heavy weight of endless fart jokes. I didn't have high hopes for this show, but I thought I would do something to make it worth the while. But here I am at the end of it, and all I can say is, I think I've boarded the hate train. And I'm bummed about that, more than I should be. This is a show that's easy to hate. It's swarming with problems, but I thought it would at least be kind of funny to watch through quickly, or there would be some heart in it that shines through, but it feels so soulless. And what am I complaining about? The whole show is a marketing stunt to revive Pac-Man, but I think there could have been something. Sue me for wanting the show to be good, and I want to believe, I have to believe there were some people on the team that had higher hopes for this show than what it ended up being. They at least wanted it to keep going. The episode after this, which is the last in the series, introduces a new and interesting character and gives us our first lead into what actually happened to Pac's parents, but they never got a season 3. And I doubt they would have upped the quality at all, but there is a part of me that's curious as to what they would have done.
So what are we left with? A bad show. Bummer. If you like this show, I want to sincerely say, that's great. You saw something in this show that I wish I did. Best not to dwell on the time wasted. Let's look towards the future. Maybe they'll give another crack at a Pac-Man TV show, and this time they'll get it right. Who knows? Until then, have a happy Halloween, stay safe, and don't take anything too seriously. Enjoy your Count Chocula cereal, binge your bad movies, and as for me, I think I'm gonna spend the holiday putting Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures very far behind me. Until next time. I can explain.